Hello everyone, this is Jonathan Cañas, and today we're going to talk about one of the biggest continental organizations around the world, and this is the African Union, also known as AU, that has more than 55 states that are working together, and we're going to discuss a few details about this organization. The first element is about the history. And the history is very important because Africa has a lot of background information that we need to cover. For example, in the last century, Africa was controlled by different European countries, and this was an obstacle to the development of this continent. So, after the process of independence, all these countries were looking for a new identity. They were looking to be together in order to have more security for all the Africa, and that's how they announced the Organization of Africa Unity, also known as the OAU. This organization worked from 1963 to 1999, and it was very important because they were able to make the first step to establish an organization in Africa and the first Congress of Africa after the independence. And this was a process that it was looking for a new stability, it was looking for a new development, it was looking for a new opportunity for all those people in Africa. And after a few decades, they announced in 1999 in Sirte, Libya, they announced that they decided to stop using this organization and that they make a new organization that was the Africa Union. This organization it was established in July 2002, and it was a replacement to the old organization. So basically, the first step to accomplish this goal of a new Africa, of a new independence country, and that's how it started all this process. Now, the second element that we are going to discuss is the organizational structure, and I divide it in the principal organs. The first one is the Assembly of the Union, and in this organ, basically what they do is to take decisions that affect all the African Union, and they have 55 represents. One represent is for each state, and they have the opportunity to agree or disagree with all the topics and all the ideas that they are going to discuss and implement. And also they have access to the budget and all the projects that the organization is making. Then we have the executive council, and in this organ, basically they take the decisions, but to specific areas, for example, transportation, energy, food, economic situation. So they take the decisions, but to specific areas. And in the third organ that we have is the African Union Commission. And basically, in this organ is the secretary and the representative of the African Union to the rest of the world, and they apply and implement all the projects and all the decisions that has been taken, and they make it real and possible for the African Union. Then we have the Pan-African Parliament, and this organ basically is where all the people have the opportunity to be listened, to be heard, because it's a space when everyone has a voice, and they choose five member, and two of the member has to be women for every state of the African Union, so they can express their needs, their insecurities, all the stuff that they need in order that they can apply it in the African Union. Then we have the Peace and Security Council. In this organ, what they do is try to manage and try to avoid all the conflict that can happen in the African Union. As you may know, Africa is a very conflicted territory, so they need an organization that is protecting all the members. And then we have the Africa Core of Human and People's Rights. And basically in this organ, they choose 11 judges that they have the opportunity to interpret it and to judge all the cases that are applied. And this is the first part. And in the second one, we have the president. Who is the president of this organization? In this case, the president is Macky Sall, and he has been the president of the Republic of Senegal, but he is also the president of the African Union for 2022. Now it's time to talk about the goals of the organization. And the first one is a high standard of living. And what is basically do the organization is looking to have a better quality of life for every person in Africa. And they are trying to improve the quality of life by making new security programs and applying new basic systems that can provide water and electricity to all Africa. They also try to generate even more money and more income for those people who work and to have a better and decent work for those people who work in Africa. Then we have the second point that is transfer economics. And this is very important because they are trying to change all the infrastructure in order that can have more productivity and generates more money for all those people in Africa. So they are trying to diversify all the economic in Africa by attracting more investors. Then we have modern agriculture, and this is very important because they have the resources, but they do not have the ability to do all the requirements that they need in the agriculture. So they are trying to apply new practices that come from different countries in order that they can increase that productivity and that production. And then we have the establishment of the African Continent Free Trade Area. And this is a project that is working since 2018. And basically what they're trying to do is to create a new market in which all the countries has access and they can generate more money for the people. And also they can apply this in the union that they are trying to create. Now it's time to talk about the future goals of the organization. The first one is the Agenda 2063. As you may know, Africa needs to follow different objectives in order to accomplish their future. So they want to create a federal union for the rest of the Africa, apply justice and democracy for all the countries, and they need to do it before 2063. Then they have to end all wars, and this is a working that they are applying since now because they are trying to stop violence, they are trying to stop all these crimes to create a peaceful and safe Africa. And then they have a strategy for transforming the African economy, and this is very important because they are trying to improve their competitive in the international market by being more industrialized and using all the resources they have available in order to compete in the free market of the rest of the world. Last but not least, the functions of the organization. The first one is to promote democratic principles and institutions, and this is very important to show to the rest of the world that they respect democracy and that they allow participation in elections in all Africa. The second one is to encourage international cooperation. They need to show to the rest of the world that they are working together as an African Union in order to be more competitive in the international market. And then we have accelerated political and socioeconomic integration. And this is very important because in the future they want to create a federal African Union. So they need to do all this stuff and they need to create policies and regulations in order to be more competitive and more united. And now, thank you so much for your attention.